For my sky. We don't focus on who may hate. Close your eyes, admit work sound like an AK. Always kept the circle sharp like a Beyblade. Remain great and act up to the naysays. I control the mode like I'm coaching. Pro stamps, you haters ain't got no chance. Trained so many champs throughout this whole camp. But you can't take a risk if you got no hands. Let's go. Cap to the back, then we all snap. Coach gave that call to this New York cat. Got my weight up, it's sometimes like a Snorlax. Had to answer that call back till we on, I don't hold back. I create the lane like I'm coaching. Stay ahead of the game like I'm coaching. Haters try to stop us, they got no chance. Go champ, got me feeling like coaching. I create the lane like I'm coaching. Stay ahead of the game like I'm coaching. Haters try to stop us, they got no chance. Go champ, got me feeling like coaching. Everybody giving props to the fighter. Different cloth, I show love to the designer. To move forward, need an OG beside you. We better by your side than someone that been through the fire. Where I'm from, we pay respect to the OGs. No fees, we paying dues in them cold streets. I learned it's better to get better with a whole team. See, I'm a fighter in different ways, got a bold dream. Hot head, was never made to have cold feet. If coach teach, I kept control of the old me. Show things I learned from the gram in the whole week. And coach is the reason why my brother didn't go weak. I can see how God used you to control peace. I can see how God used you to control peace. If life takes a hit, then learn how to slip. Whole mix, them hands go wolf like a whole clip. Whoa. I create the lane like I'm coaching. Stay ahead of the game like I'm coaching. Haters try to stop us, they got no chance. Go champ, got me feeling like coaching. I create the lane like I'm coaching. Stay ahead of the game like I'm coaching. Haters try to stop us, they got no chance. Go champ, got me feeling like coaching. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? I had to talk that talk. I mean, they try to do me something, you heard me? Yeah. New I was up. VA was up. VA was up. Yeah. For my sky. Feel like coaching right quick, you hear me? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, by popular demand, it's your boy Coach Anthony. I got none other than Fast Eddie Chambers on the other line. What's going on, Eddie?
Yeah, not much, man. Just relaxing, man.
Just relaxing. Listen, I did this podcast last week, and only thing I got inside the DMs were, where's Eddie at? Where's Eddie at? We need Fast Eddie at. So I had to bring you on. You know what I mean? We do all the YouTube videos together, and we do a lot of the instructionals that I do together. But yeah, they're not tired of you, man. They want to hear more from you, man. So talk to us, Eddie. How's everything? How you doing?
I'm good, man. But I'm kind of surprised a little bit. I didn't think I was that interesting, but okay, I guess they do. That's nice. But no, but I'm good, man. Just dealing with this whole quarantine life thing, and it's an adjustment, but got to stay in shape. Got to keep yourself sane. And to be honest, I'm still kind of working, not kind of working, but it's like it's a difference, an adjustment, But everybody has to make it.
Now, when you talk about being interesting, you are an interesting guy, and there's so many things that we could talk about. And I don't want to make this a really long podcast just yet. I'm just starting this out. I'm trying to build more viewers before we go ahead and give everybody all the good stuff. You know what I mean? I need to get more people. So if you're out there right now, I need you guys to jump on this bandwagon with us, man. And I need you guys to help share this podcast, because we're going to be talking about so many different things, training tips, training routines that maybe me and Eddie currently do, or even stuff that Eddie's done throughout his professional career that, even I wasn't around, that he can go ahead and share some of his experiences with. We're going to talk about the experiences, things that Eddie has experienced, things he had to overcome as a professional fighter. Eddie could talk about all these things from a professional fighter standpoint, as opposed to me talking about it as a coach. Of course, I've coached fighters in these situations, and I help fighters in these situations, but it's a lot different when you're the actual fighter and you're the one going through the stuff, you know what I mean? Trying to please your coach, trying to win, trying to please your family, trying to please yourself. So I just know that that's a whole different thing that and a lot of people who are listening to me right now are inspiring fighters, or just people who are huge boxing fans, And I know these guys want to get inside your head, you know what I mean, and see like fighter deal with that. How does a fighter deal with this? How does a fighter deal with that? But the next thing I want to talk about before, you know what I mean, we get into a few of those things is we just completed the 50 combinations to the head, 50 combinations to the body, and over 50 combinations to the head and body. This is a 3-part series with over 150 combinations. Eddie, you were the demonstrating partner. You were the one who threw all those punches, sometimes even more, because we took 1, 2, 3 takes and we made sure you did it a few times so the camera guy can get it from different angles. How did you feel after that? And how did you feel about the ending result of the product? You know, how did you feel? Like, how do you feel about how it came out after we finished?
Well, physically, I felt a little tired. No, yeah, but no, because throwing all them dang on punches, man, it wasn't like I was just tapping the bag and posturing and just letting people see how the punch turns. No, we was throwing them. You know what I mean? And like you said, throwing all of those combinations. And when you say 150, you just think about how many times I had to do it per take. So, like I said, sometimes 3, sometimes most of the time 2, but then sometimes 3, sometimes 4, sometimes we had to restart. You know what I mean? So, if anything if anything else can come from this, is not only just obviously how to throw your punches and the different things that we've done in this particular series, so you can help you learn, but also a conditioning training you can actually do with these with this here thing that we got going. This here drill. There's several drills that you can do, like I said, for conditioning. So it's crazy, and I feel great not only from what you can do with the conditioning aspect, but also the content that you're getting from it too. I mean, the content is amazing. Like I said, it's not just punches. It's not just combinations. It's not just 50 combinations head, 50 combinations to the body, and then over 50 to the head and body, but the footwork that goes with it. You know, how to throw the combinations, the timing of the combinations, the different up and down. You know what I mean? It's just so much content. I don't even want to say too much more. I don't want to give up too much, but it's an awesome thing, and I'm really, really happy about it.
Right. So am I, man. I'm actually really pleased with it, man. A lot of thought got put into it and a lot of effort got put into it from both of us. And I just feel like this is something where, my new slogan for my brand is, I don't just teach the how, I teach the why, and that's something that I'm really taking pride in right now. Throughout my whole YouTube channel, I try to make sure that I explain every detail and I explain why and what the risks, rewards are to each situation. And I just think that that's something that gets covered in this, this series. And right now it's super affordable, guys. If you get all 3, you're actually going to get a huge discount. So, this is for a limited time for all my true supporters who have been with me from the beginning. If you guys go ahead and jump on that now, you guys are going to get a huge deal, a huge discount. So I would not wait. And me and Eddie are actually planning on doing some more stuff real soon so we can go ahead and release it for you guys. I just didn't want to make you guys wait any longer. It's been a while since we dropped one. We dropped the Philly shell together, which was absolutely amazing. For all of you guys who got the Philly shell, I've gotten nothing but huge positive feedback. How to create angles and counterpunch. That was how to set traps and counterpunch was ridiculous. I mean, I don't know if we could top that one. Who knows? But then again, how to create angles is so good. I don't know if we could top that one. But now the one that we just did, I feel so good about that. Maybe we did just top. I mean, it really depends on what your preferences are, what you're trying to learn. But they're definitely all some of my favorites, man. And it's just like, if you guys don't have some of these in your library right now, I just think that you're seriously missing out, what I mean? Because you're going to have some really good stuff in there, man. Like, tell them how it would have been if you would have had this kind of stuff when you were training, when you were coming up.
Oh my gosh. It would it almost eliminates the need for a trainer sometime. But nah, you always need a trainer. But it just gives you the opportunity to train on your own. Like, if you're not in the gym, like, you know how it is. Like, I know, and for you, we talked a little bit about what you did early on in your career, and not really having somebody right there with you the whole time to figure out what's right and what's wrong, and to have somebody like you, and to have people like us on there doing it, it just really gives you another option. You know what I'm saying? And if I had this, who knows what I would have been doing? I was too busy watching fights and trying to get little snippets of training that the top guys did on their own. You know, like with the jump rope, some of the training habits. But to actually have this set out there for you to actually use, man, ain't no telling. Ain't no telling what I would have been. Who knows? Might have been even crazier than I already did.
Right. So tell the people, man, for the people out there right now quarantining who, let's just say they don't have access to a heavy bag. Let's just say, you know what I mean? Like, you know, what would be some tips to these guys that you would say to stay in shape, you know what I mean, and get through and pass the time? Like, you know, you as a professional fighter and you know, a long time, not even a long time amateur fighter, because you only was amateur for a few years and went pro. But I mean, what are some of the things that fighters should be doing, could be doing, from your perspective right now, if they say to themselves like, hey, Ant, you know, I would like to get your stuff, your combinations, but I don't got a heavy bag.
Well, you have different options. You know, you put out the footwork thing, you put out some of the things you can do on the pads. It's just different stuff like that. You also have shadow boxing. You know, they say that you gotta learn how to miss properly before you actually hit in boxing. So, you know, there's a lot of different things you can do, and then you also can work on conditioning. You know what I mean? A lot of the shadow boxing and stuff like that also helps with conditioning. You know, you can just work on your body, work on what you put in your body, correct that. Those things are also just as important. And the fact that we are quarantining, we're not able to actually be in the gym with a trainer. We have Coach Anthony that actually puts out content, a lot of free content, a lot of good content that you can take things from. You know what I mean? I learned a lot from it at times. And I'm in some of the videos and I'm looking like, oh, damn, well, I didn't realize I did that. You know what I mean? So these types of things, you have it there. Like, I didn't have this. Like we just said, we didn't have this when we were coming up. So we didn't have the ability to, like, go online, pop up Coach Anthony real quick and say, oh, damn, okay, I like that. Let me try this. Let me practice this. There's so many things you can be doing nowadays that we didn't have the option to do back when we were coming up. So use your resources. You have a lot of great resources right now. If you tune into what we're doing, you got so much information. Just use it. And like I said, on top of that, work on your body and also work on what you put in your body. And you should be solid until this thing's over.
Right. And that's another thing. That's a good point that you made about shadow boxing. So guys, if you don't have a heavy bag and let's just say you want to go ahead and you want the 150 or over 150 combination, you know, compilation that we basically just made, you can literally shadow box all the same punches.
Yes, sir.
It's that simple, man. You don't need a heavy bag. I say the heavy bag, you know, but all these same combinations are not only going to get thrown in a heavy bag, hopefully they get thrown in sparring and in a fight when you guys actually, you know, go out there and start competing again. That's the purpose of everything that I'm teaching. I mean, I am teaching this, you know what I mean, with a disclaimer saying that you have to be ready before you step into the ring, and you better be under the supervision of a professional coach before you go ahead and attempt any of these things. These are just tips, and these are just ideas that you guys can actually implement into your boxing. But the goal is to improve your boxing to the point that you actually execute this in a real situation. This isn't make-believe information that we're giving. We're not out here trying to be salesmen. We're selling you something, of course, because everybody has to make a living. But at the same time, we're giving you priceless and an abundance of information. This information that I'm giving you took me 20 years to acquire. It took Eddie 20 years as a professional to acquire it. So this isn't like, oh, you know, and listen, if you can't afford to get any of these, then just go onto my YouTube channel. I got so much free information on my YouTube channel that, you know, if you're creative, you can go ahead and you can make ideas out of the videos that I've given you guys from their shadow box. But if you are able and you are capable and you do have a couple of extra bucks and you want to invest into yourself, like I tell people, if you invest in yourself, you can't lose. This is a definite good buy. You know, definitely everything right now that I'm selling right now, I'm truly confident about. So anything that you choose is going to be a good decision. But this is our latest one, and obviously I'm pushing it because I'm just so excited about it because I just know you guys are gonna love it. I'm also doing Zoom session, guys. If you guys want to get in front of me, this is gonna probably be only for a limited more time. I got it really cheap right now. Also, I mean, in reality, I wasn't even gonna do this, but obviously I got some free time and I'm loving it. I'm connecting with you guys. I'm face to face with you guys. You guys, yo, Eddie, when I talk to these people on Zoom, they already know everything I teach, how I teach it. They know the step back drop. They know the shoulder roll drop. They know all the stuff that me do in the gym religiously. And I'm just like, these are my real students, man. Like some of these guys are better students than the students that I've had in my life, in real life. And I'm just like, isn't that crazy? Like the power of the internet, it's absolutely amazing. I'm so excited about it that I'm just like, man, so I'm probably going to keep doing these Zooms forever. I just could tell you this, and Eddie attest to this. When everything gets back open, I'm going to be super busy in the gym, really working with fighters. We'll be working on Eddie, getting Eddie hopefully back in that ring as a professional. I got my amateurs, I got clients, I got just a lot of stuff going on. So I don't know how busy I'll be, but for the Zoom session stuff. But, for right now, guys, take advantage of that because that's another thing that I'm doing that I think you guys can really benefit from. And I've gotten already some really good results. Now, Eddie, let's talk about Mike Tyson. Did you see that most recent video with Mike hitting? What the hell? I didn't know he was that sharp, man. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Listen, man, and you know what, my man Bird, our man Bird,
Billy, we gotta call him Billy. We're branding.
My fault. We got to call him Billy. Billy Bird.
Billy is the guy who was in our last video podcast that we didn't actually turn it into real podcast format, but he actually went ahead and said that he can beat Mike Tyson's ass.
Right
Remember
now,
when he said that, and me and you looked at him like he bumped his head?
He tripping. You know what? You know what's funny?
Something. He sent me a message after he saw that video, and he said, "Yo, I just want to say that I was wrong. I cannot beat Mike Tyson." That's exactly what he told me. He said, I didn't know he had that much in the tank. I'm like, we try to tell you, man.
People do not understand that once you're a certain level, just because you age doesn't necessarily mean you're not physically capable of doing. Don't look at Holyfield. Don't look at even Riddick Bowe and some of these dudes walking the street. Even though Riddick Bowe fat and all crazy looking right now, you step in front of Riddick Bowe talking too crazy. You might not understand a word he says, but you'll understand that right hand come across your face. You talk too stupid. You know what I'm saying? So don't get it twisted. These dudes
isn't that amazing, though? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
It is,
yo, because it's just crazy how like it really doesn't leave you, man. Like it never does. Like look at like even me, man. I still get into the ring every once in a while with some of these amateurs that I train and stuff, and some of these kids are still decently strong and sharp. And of course, I'm teaching them, so I'm much more experienced than them. But they're youthful and they're in shit, and I'm still able to get in there and handle them pretty easily. And I'm already a guy who doesn't even box at all. Eddie will tell you, I barely ever hit heavy bags. I barely shadow box. I've seen Eddie come off the ring. I've seen Eddie come off the street and get in the ring with top 10 guys and, spin them in circles and stuff. And I'm just like, how do you do that without training? You know what I'm saying? And, even though I'm able to do it at my level, seeing a guy like you do it at your level, and it's just like, how, isn't it like, explain to me, what do you think that is, man?
It's like this. You put so much time in. You literally feel more comfortable doing that than breathing almost at times. And it really is a certain flow that you get into. And listen, you're not going to ever be able to explain it any better than anyone else who has the same kind of experience. And it's just something that happens. It's like you've been doing it for years. You've been training, and from a trainer standpoint, you see things a little different. So even as a fighter competing, you're probably seeing it even better than you would if you were just a fighter. You know what I'm saying? So and looking at Mike, and it's like, yo, he's probably one of the top 10 heavyweight of all time. Most people starting to think top 5, maybe top 2 or 3. So you think just because Mike 50, that he still can't throw a combination at you? Listen, he might not be able to take on somebody like a Anthony Joshua or a Tyson Fury right now, but you can believe you get a couple of them dudes in the top 20 that might be slipping, he might knock a couple of them dudes out. That's true. It's crazy.
Now, leading into that, he's talking about making a comeback, and George Foreman actually went publicly and pleaded with him about doing it. He said, "Please, Mike, don't do it. You have nothing else to prove." Now, what are your thoughts about Mike making a comeback? Where is this coming from? What is this about? I mean, what like I don't understand. Like not too low. I heard Mike saying to to Dana White and I might have, if I'm not mistaken, even Joe Rogan saying, "Hey man, I want to forget that part of my life." And now all of a sudden he's talking about competing against some charity events or something. I mean, I didn't get the whole scoop. I only briefly looked at it, but if he is trying to fight again, what do you think that is? What do you think the situation is? Do you think, like, I mean, I have no thoughts yet because I just don't know how to take it. Like, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, Mike, a lot of his experience back then, I mean, though it was fun and though it was great at times, there was a lot of negativity going on. And I feel like at this point in his life, it's peaceful. It's more peaceful. So I feel like this is coming from a state of peace. Like it's like he's like, man, look, I actually feel good doing this. He probably, his diet might be better. His lifestyle's better. He's not hurting as much. He's not mentally drained from all of the craziness that's going on in his life because really everything is simple right now. And he's probably looking like, damn, I'm actually able to train. Everybody quarantining. I'm in the gym. I'm in the house, which is in the gym, I guess, for him, hitting the bag, hitting the pads. And damn, I feel as good as I did when I was in my 20s. Now, granted, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to equate to success in the ring, but he's probably feeling like, man, I might want to actually do this. Let me get a little fight with a little dude that that really ain't trying to do anything with his life or with his career, and see if I can knock him off. And if I feel good after that, maybe we'll see what happens. But the idea of it is, man, sometimes it's really hard to get away from it. Like, he's Mike Tyson. He's always going to be Mike Tyson. And no matter what, he was on the big stage. Like, everybody's looking at, oh, it's Mike. We love him. He's the champ. And it's hard to get away from that, man. It's hard to look at that and just say, oh, I don't want that no more. You always want that. Even though Mike, like I said, wanted to get away from the sport because it just reminded him so much of the negativity in his life. But now he's, like I said, coming from a position of peace. It's like, man, I actually can have fun doing this now. Shit, he might actually even have a shot coming back at something light, nothing crazy. And I kind of agree with George. You might want to stay away from all that craziness, but maybe just for fun, man. Maybe get a couple extra dollars too on top of it, but just for fun, maybe.
Right. And I was just about to touch on that. What are your thoughts about George? But you kind of just prematurely answered it. So do you think that? So do you think that's cool? Do you think so? Do you think that Mike has a chance against you? You kind of answered that too, I guess. I mean, you think if a top 20 guy is slipping, what do you think his chances are against like a Deontay Wilder or somebody like that who's got a lot of flaws in their game? Does he have a legitimate chance against a guy like Deontay Wilder, or even a guy like Deontay Wilder? If he, obviously if he lands that right hand, that could knock anybody out. Do you think that? Do you think that the age will be a factor? And who wins that fight, prime for prime?
Oh, prime for prime, Mike. He don't get out of maybe the second round. Shit, he might not even get out the first round. To be honest.
So you think Mike's, even though Mike's only 5'11", you think he gets under him and he gets that close where he's able to land? You don't think that Deontay can keep him away?
Not only does he get under him, he gets in him. Pause. Like, come on, man. Listen, I'm not saying. I'm one of the ones that would say prime for prime. Like, Mike is probably on the lower end of the top 10 to me, and it's not because I don't think he was great, but I do think he. And the funny part is when I say the lower end of the top 10, I'm talking about all-time heavyweights. And it's like because the era wasn't as crazy, and every time Mike fought another Hall of Famer, he lost. That doesn't necessarily mean that he wouldn't have beat them if he was right, because I felt like Mike wasn't right in a lot of those positions. Like, I felt like Mike got out of jail when he fought Evander, and Vander's one of my favorite heavyweights of all time. So, I'm kind of partial to him, but at the same time, I still feel like if Mike was Mike, like pre jail, it might have been a different story. But I just think Holyfield had the temperament and the strength and the determination to overcome what Mike was bringing. But pre jail, I don't know. because then Mike was that dude. Like, I really don't feel like I'm looking at some of the matchups in history, and I'm looking at Mike. Like, Mike might have beat those guys, most of them, if not all of them. So that's what I'm saying. But I still think because he fight the guys he fought in his prime and his credentials, and how, like, when he fought Lennox, he didn't win. When he fought Evander, he didn't win. I'm just looking at those Hall of Famers and those guys coming out on top, and it's just like, he just never dominated a real, true Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he should have. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying he's on the edge of it. But if you're talking about him and Deontay Wilder, Deontay Wilder.
Does Deontay Wilder last? Does Deontay Wilder beat any of the 1990 top guys? The Lennox Lewis's, the Evander Holyfields, the Mike Tysons, the Riddick Bowes? Like, where does Deontay Wilder fall into that? You know what I mean? Because, the game did evolve a little bit. I mean, Deontay Wilder is 6'7". I mean, those guys were only 6'2", and the biggest one out of them all was Lennox. I think he was 6'5", I think, and Riddick Bowe was pretty tall. So I can't see him competing with Lennox Lewis or Riddick Bowe. But I mean, but then again,
he had a better shot.
But then again, if he lands it right,
he had a better shot at Bowe. He had a better shot at Bowe than I think.
I don't know, man. I think the Bowe that puts them combinations together with the mean intentions, I don't think he has a shot. Hell.
Well, I think the reason why I say he has a better shot with Bowe, well, you know what? To be honest, he has a shot with anybody because if he land that right hand,
let's be clear, he does have a shot against anybody.
And in that case, he has a good shot at Lennox if he catch Lennox slipping or not being on his game, because that's what happened in those two fights. Even though I love Hasim Rahman, that was my man. It's my man still. I don't know if he was 100% on his game at that night when he knocked him out. However, he got the win, and he got a good place in history based on that. But if Lennox is like, same thing with Oliver McCall, Lennox is on his game, that never happens. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And I'm just like, maybe Deontay could slide in there on one of them weak moments and Lennox
against the guys from the 90s. And
yeah, so all right, so let's be clear. He has a puncher's chance against anybody. Where does he rank up, as far as being dominant, I would say, in that time? Like, is he a dominant real player, or is he a guy who has a, above average good record, but he gets knocked out and then sneaks in maybe a knockout victory here and there? Which one is?
You got to look at it, man. It's like there's a lot of good fighters around that 90s period, man. There was some name guys from the 80s, even the 80s and 90s, which a lot of people look at the 80s, the end of the 80s going into the 90s as being a little weak, but there was actually some names in there. And it's really hard to put him in over some of the guys. Like, you talk about like guys who were world champions or close to it, but it's like, you look at, like, there was Tommy Morrison, there's Ray Mercer, and and we're talking a level below the the top guys. You know what I mean? Then you got an old George Foreman coming in, but George Foreman knocking out Michael Moore. Michael Moore is another player that you got in there, and it's like, it's just, and then Andrew Galata, he's in there too, and then what other guys? And then you got the top guys. You got Lennox and Mike and Holyfield and Bowe, and it's just like, and then, like I say, you got like these Oliver McCall. Like, Oliver McCall was in there. Oliver McCall was a guy who gets beat, but he's tough, man. I don't think he ever been down or knocked out or anything. But we talking about being in there with the man, the real dudes. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. It's really hard. It's really hard to put him in there and put him over some of these names that I'm saying. Like, these are some real guys. And I'm not saying that he's not a real guy. I'm just saying that he has too many flaws in the position he's in. You know what I mean? To think he's going to survive in the ring with some of these dudes. Like, these dudes get
all right, so let me ask you this: where does Tyson Fury rank up in that era?
This is a different story, told all together, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because of his skill level and size. See, a lot of times when you got size, especially even back in that time, you just got size. You don't got the skill level, and footwork, and all of this stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's either one or the other. Like even with Andrew Galata, who was pretty skilled in, for the time, and he was a big guy, about 6'4", 6'5". He's still 4 inches shorter and doesn't have the footwork or the speed or the ability that Tyson has. So therefore, that's an easy win. And not I'll say easy win, but it's on paper, and we don't make the fights aren't on paper, but you would think that that would be a win for Tyson. And even looking at the greats like Riddick Bowe, and I feel like Riddick Bowe got some of the best skills I've ever seen in a heavyweight that big, fighting inside, fighting outside. But when I look at Tyson's footwork and I look at his range and I look at his ability, and you know what I mean? It's hard
Him
to
and
go
him and Tyson Fury make for a very interesting fight.
very. It's like
It make for a very interesting fight because Tyson Fury's not really a known to being a one punch knockout guy. And Riddick Bowe was such a gritty guy on top of having basically all the same qualities that Tyson Fury has. The only difference is Tyson Fury has all the reach and the height and the range. If I had to say which fighter is actually better, I mean, that's a toss-up. I think that's a preference thing because, I think offensively, Riddick Bowe's probably better, but then defensively, it looks like Tyson might be a little bit slicker. That's a toss-up fight. Now, Lennox Lewis and Tyson Fury make for an interesting fight. I think Mike Tyson was too short for Tyson Fury. I don't think he can do anything, even with his aggression. I just think that he just falls short every time. But then again, if he gets in there, you never know. I mean, we've seen Tyson Fury drop by Steve Cunningham, and Steve Cunningham ain't no goddamn Mike Tyson. So
not with the punching power,
and neither is Deontay Wilder, and he put him on his butt. So I mean, what happens when Mike Tyson dips and gets in there, and plus you have to remember the factor of fear that he bought. I don't think Tyson Fury is very easily intimidated though, so that wouldn't really play a factor, but. It's just interesting. It makes you think, man. Like, how do the current guys do against those guys?
Well, I mean, I think it is what it is. You can't match. It's hard to match up eras because obviously these guys can't physically actually get in the ring, and it's only speculation. It's only what you think versus what. And generally, the people who were from back in that era are gonna think obviously nobody can beat their best guys. But the reality of it is we don't know. And if you look at a guy skill-wise like Tyson Fury, he can match up with anybody at any time in history because of the skills. And that leads you to understand why skills are so important. You acquire skills. We're not talking about natural ability. We're talking about skills. And a lot of people overlook skills because they have natural ability and natural physical gifts. And it's like you can't overlook the importance of acquiring skills. That will give you all the ammo you need in any kind of situation. You can be, say maybe you don't have the physical size that a guy like Tyson does have naturally. But if you have certain skills, you may be able to overcome that. Maybe you do have a good amount of coordination, but you don't have the explosive power. So maybe you figure out how to deal with guys in a different way, and maybe you can still compete at the highest level. But it's skills that get you there. Not always physical ability.
Right. Yes, guys, make sure you guys acquire all the skills possible because if not, that's your butt. I mean, but like I said before, man, skills is only one part about boxing. I made a post where I talked about the skills is only one part of boxing. Everything matters. Your heart, your chin, your natural ability, all that stuff is just as important as skills. But the big but is if you don't have skills, you're gonna have a lot of problems when you finally bump into a guy who has all those other qualities that I say are important. When you meet up to a guy who has those same qualities, now it comes into skills. So you can't overlook skills in the sport of boxing. You kind of gotta, everything works together hand in hand, but skills is definitely very, very important. Listen, I'm not going to take a lot of your time tonight, man. We've been talking for a while now. I just want to touch on it, bring you on. We're going to be bringing you on a regular basis. We'll go ahead and we'll talk some fantasy fights. I think the fantasy fights would be something really cool for this segment. We'll start breaking some stuff down. I just wanted to bring you on real quick so people could kind of have a feel, you know what I mean, how this is going to be when you and I get on here, which is going to be on a regular basis. I mean, it's going to be as
Oh, yeah.
often as I possibly can get you on here for now, at least. And then we'll go
No,
ahead and take this to the next level. But guys, 50 heavy bag combinations to the head, body and head, the bundle package, the Coach Anthony Killer Combo package that is on my website right now, www.coachanthonyboxing.com. You also have the Philly shell, the counter punch, the angle, the footwork, my Zoom sessions, everything's on there. And make sure you follow me on Instagram at Coach Anthony. Follow Eddie at Fast Eddie Chambers, if I'm not mistaken. What's your Twitter? Because I know you're active on Twitter. What's your Twitter?
Yeah, it's you got it right. Fast Eddie Chambers on Twitter. You got it.
Oh, Fast Eddie Chambers. It's Fast Eddie Chambers, everything. Make sure you guys keep up with Eddie. Eddie's going to be highly involved in everything going on here at Coach Anthony Boxing. Hopefully we could get you in the ring. And who wins, man? You right now or Mike Tyson right now?
Mike. No. I better win. I've been at this thing for a while, and I better win. I'm younger.
Hey, you should call him out, man. That might be your $1 million fight right there, man. I'd call him out. Hey, Mike, I see you're looking for a fight, man. You got one right here.
Yeah, just don't hit me too hard, bro.
All right, man. Good talking to you, Eddie, and we'll catch up soon.
Yes, sir. You the man. Appreciate you.
All right.